Canelo's immediate plans, but that seems to be a good moneymaker for both guys.
Well, it's funny you asked because last night I had preliminary talks with Golovkin's people. Emotional. About fighting for the third time in Cinco de Mayo, which is the biggest weekend in boxing in Las Vegas. So we're starting talks. Canelo is open to anything. I mean, Canelo's a fighter who.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wilder! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. So obviously hit that like button, share the show, subscribe. If you listen on podcast form, drop that 5-star review. I'm Matt, the hipster hunter, joined obviously by my lovely middle-aged co-host, Mr. Robbie Hearn, second cousin twice removed of Eddie. And we have tons of topics to get into, at least, well, I should not say tons. We have two gigantic topics to get into. Canelo versus Triple G, 3 in negotiations for Las Vegas. And obviously on top of that, Wilder versus Fury 2 happening in the U.S. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun show. Definitely call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue if you're international. Email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com to get a free international and permanent call-in link. You can also find all the information down below in the description or at mixedcombatradio.com. But like I said, I'm joined by Mr. Robbie Hearn himself. Rob, how are you doing? This is some gigantic fights being announced. Some big fights, obviously. Are you shocked that either are announced? Are you happy that both are announced? What's your sort of, immediate reaction, overall thought process on these two massive events? And how are you doing, obviously?
Yeah, I'm good. Hi, everybody in the chat for tuning in. Anybody listening on the catch up, when you get to this. Yeah, you're saying announce, Matt, but talks.
Talks, not announced. Sorry, talks.
Yeah. I'm just, don't want people going, wait, where do I get tickets? But yeah, I think we knew the Wilder Fury 2 was all talks and stuff like that were happening, and it was up in the air of can we see this one coming this side of the pond? Will we get it in there was talk of Old Trafford, Manchester United Stadium in the UK, but the Canelo Triple G, I mean, this cropped up a little while back. There was the tweets of the T-Mobile was booked, and it was Golden Boy had got it, and it was also saying with Triple G Promotions. And then there was an update of that, and it was just Golden Boy, and the Triple G Promotions were removed from that statement. But now that statement's back again, and obviously Oscar's come out and said what he said. I'm sure you can play the clip again in a little minute, but yeah, I wasn't quite expecting this one. I was thinking Triple G maybe have a comeback fight first and then look at this one. I guess it's going to depend on his chosen network.
Well, I think also with this news, or at least the talk of the negotiations from Oscar De La Hoya, which I'll play the clip again for anyone that's going to be tuning in just now, obviously, jumping into the show a little bit late. I think this is not an all but confirmation of a zone move for Triple G, But it kind of is, right? Like this is obviously. I don't think Oscar De La Hoya would come out here on ESPN Radio and say that they're in negotiations, and that would mean that Triple G is not seriously considering DAZN, which, from what our knowledge was, had the biggest offer for Triple G. So there's a lot to sort of unpack here with this fight. Let's tackle that one first, obviously, then get into the Wilder Fury stuff in the second part of the show. Again, call in at any time, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll play the clip again from ESPN Radio just so that people can hear it.
And Canelo's immediate plans, but that seems to be a good moneymaker for both guys.
Well, it's funny you asked because last night I had preliminary talks with Golovkin's people, and so we threw it out there about fighting for the third time in Cinco de Mayo, which is the biggest weekend in boxing in Las Vegas. So we're starting talks. Canelo is open to anything. I mean, Canelo's a fighter who.
And on top of that, I don't have it up, but Oscar De La Hoya just tweeted, "I've given marching orders to my president, Eric Gomez, at Make a War, to start talk with Triple G boxing, hashtag Canelo Triple G3. Are we assuming this happens? Like, I know he said preliminary talks. The talks of Vegas obviously have come out for obvious reasons due to the money. Is it sort of just a safe assumption we're getting this fight sometime, probably Cinco de Mayo, obviously, in Vegas, the rematch? Right? Is it a safe assumption at this point, Rob?
Yeah, like I say, I'm just off the back of that news. I guess maybe, like you said, Golovkin is leaning towards DAZN, obviously leaning towards the biggest payday he can probably get wherever he goes. So yeah, we'll see. We've seen a little bit of trouble making this fight in the past. I mean, it eventually got across the line that second time, and it was a long time coming. People felt in the first for it to happen the first time, but for this one, the trilogy, I think.
But also, just to add some context to that, I mean, to be fair, it's not because negotiations fell apart. It's because Canelo fought for clenbuterol, right? He fought for a PED, banned substance. So that's why the second fight sort of had a rough path to get there. It wasn't because they, did not come to a quick deal. That rematch was really quick, was it not? After the draw, I mean, they had a press conference in LA. I remember being there. I just would say it's a little bit different than I would say that them so far in the past rematch, the negotiation process, haven't shown to me that it will be hard to negotiate a fight.
Well, if you remember, there was the Triple G team really dug their heels in this time and held out and held out and held out, and then Oscar was saying we're going to walk away from this. We'll talk with Billy Joe Saunders and do that unification, and then they held out, and I think if we remember, Triple G got a really, really good deal, wasn't it? Like 45% or even a little bit more, wasn't it?
I forget the percentage, but it was high. It was a pretty equitable
very
split.
Close to 50-50.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I meant. There was, it's going to happen. He's going to. I don't know. He's going to walk away. It wasn't quite as we've heard that Wilder Fury got made in like one phone call, over a weekend or some shit like that. But yeah, I think we can look forward to it. And it also, like I say, looks like the T-Mobile is booked by Golden Boy. And some even said that it was a precaution, that Mayweather wasn't going to come in and steal the date at the T-Mobile. I guess he can go to the MGM. He's obviously been there many times as well. But, even I think Mayweather's not going to, I don't care. I'm going on that day, because there's always been, obviously, this, if Pacquiao comes through the Broner fight, there's all the, they met at the basketball game. They're supposed to be fighting. It is signed, by shaking hands at the basketball game. But yeah, this is again.
But you know what? Just to throw, conspiracy theory, right? Similar to the first one, Mayweather could just really fuck with them and come in a week or two early before them, like he did with McGregor. And totally mess with their buy rate potentially. So That's a possibility, in my opinion. That we could still have Mayweather Pacquiao too, and it just be in April, April 20 something, and that be it. But quickly, I also want to touch on obviously.
Remember, it's not going to fuck with it because this would be on DAZN, so people aren't going to be looking at 2 pay-per-view prices.
I understand. I think I was going to bring that up, but I don't see, because you brought up Mayweather and Pacquiao going to MGM, right? I feel like that would just be a really dumb idea. Like, Mayweather's smarter than that. He can just come in, like I said, 2 weeks early and not compete with that or anyone and kill it, right? He could. He might compete with the UFC card, but I think a Mayweather Pacquiao 2 would beat anything at this point, let's be honest. Even if it was pay-per-view, I could see something, potentially happening. Where UFC has to move the card and it's not canceled but it's moved. But anyways, digressing from that. Obviously, this is in my mind a big sort of alarm bell for, not alarm bell because that seems harsh or negative, but it's a big sort of, I don't know, like Batman light in the sky that Triple G is going to DAZN. How big is this fight for DAZN in your mind?
Oh, I think it's huge.
Do you think this was the right move for them to make instead of a Jacobs or Andrade fight or anyone else?
For DAZN, yeah, I think so. That's another reach for subscribers and people that have subscribed that were maybe wondering, we've heard a lot of criticism of cards on DAZN, and it's like, I don't really know, some of these matchups aren't. But when May the 4th, that weekend, I think the Saturday is May the 4th, we're getting Canelo Triple G 3. I think that's a reason to stick around or whatever. So I think for DAZN, this is a great move. Is it a great move for Triple G? I think obviously financially, but like I say, I wondered if he was going to come back, have a bit of a tune-up, get that, because obviously he's gone draw, and then I know he had moderation in between, right?
Yes.
And then the loss to Canelo. I say loss with air quotes, but
he lost.
Yeah, it says it on BoxRec, I guess.
Yes, he lost. He can deal with it.
So yeah, but financially, I think obviously for Triple G, this is going to be huge. And for DAZN, it's huge. And obviously, Canelo, I guess, will want this time to leave it without any shadow of a doubt and really put this Triple G saga to sleep and see if he can rock, because Canelo really looked like he was this come forward fighter this time and sort of stood his ground with Triple G, and it impressed a lot of people. But can he hurt? Can someone finally rock Triple G? I think people want to see it because I think the suspicion is he's getting that bit older. He's met Canelo and hasn't managed to get the win, but can someone rock? That chin of Triple G. So I think everyone will be interested in this. Whether DAZN do another 3 month to really drive in people to sign up for this mega fight, I don't know, or whether at some point everyone's going to have to pay to subscribe for this one.
Well, I see Gary in the chat saying I'd rather see Canelo and Triple G fight any of the other middleweights, and I think share that sentiment like most hardcore fans. Like, I would love to see a Canelo Jacobs fight, for example, right? I would love to see Triple G versus Charlo, like just to put out matchups that are obviously fantastic matchups and are fresh, new matchups. The same reason why I'm in favor of AJ versus Big Baby over AJ versus Dylan White 2 right now, because that rematch is always there. I want a sort of a fresh matchup, and Big Baby is that, right? Similar to a Triple G Charlo fight. That's a fresh matchup. The Canelo and Triple G fight, the rematch can always happen. That will always be a moneymaker. That can always be a big fight for DAZN or whoever it is that carries that fight. So I don't see the necessity for it right now, if that makes sense. But just to sort of counter that, it's still the biggest fight. Like, on paper, Canelo Triple G 3 is bigger on every metric than a Canelo Jacobs fight, Canelo Charlo. You go down the list for all Canelo matchups in the division. Triple G still does the best rating for DAZN that they could ever ask for. It just will, guaranteed. And that's what this is about. And I understand that because, like you said off the top, I believe, people like me and others have criticized DAZN for their matchups, their cards, their lack of real, great main events. Look at the Andrade title defense coming up. That's not a great main event at all. This one is, and it's on a magnitude of the highest level, both on paper in terms of technical skill and commercially. It just makes obvious sense for them to do this if you're DAZN. And Triple G was pretty much that last sort of, big, fish out there in the free agency market post HBO demise, right? Like Canelo moved on, Kovalev has moved on in some aspect, like he's fighting on ESPN. Who knows what he does next, but he's fighting on ESPN. I just think that, again, Triple G's that last big free agency fish, and if DAZN gets him, it is massive. DAZN still might not beat ESPN in subscription numbers, but a Triple G Canelo fight is massive, and that will drive up subscription rate for them. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I say, this will be huge for DAZN. This is almost like their what they've been trying to say. No pay-per-view fights, big fights, no pay-per-view. Not charging the customer $75, $100. What Eddie Hearn's been saying. And
quickly, Rob, can you go on the Googles and go on the fight schedule coming up and look at all the pay-per-view cards and main events and sort of just like put them in a short list for me very quickly. Just because I do want to talk about how the fact that look at all the pay-per-views coming up and Canelo Triple G 3 is not one of them. That's a weird era we're in right now. We're gonna quickly go to we're gonna go to Mitty actually, and get his opinion on this on Canelo Triple G 3. And don't worry, Mitty, we'll come back to you for Wilder Fury as well. But Mitty, I want your take on obviously Canelo Triple G 3, the rematch, and if it piques your interest at all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, sorry, I don't have a headphone, so I don't know if you can hear me well.
It's okay. Go for it.
All right. Yeah, I don't mind it. I like most. Like I can go both ways. Like I would like to see Canelo with other middleweight as well. I'd like to see him with Jacobs. But I don't mind it. Like the third fight would be good. I thought that Triple G won the first one. Obviously, the second one was much closer. Still thought Triple G won it. But Canelo did very well. So I don't mind seeing it, a third time. And hopefully one of these guys can knock the other one out, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, right? So I just hope that, we don't keep screaming controversy on all those free fights, right? So, and we have section of the fan like me who probably will say, this should be 3-0 for Triple G, and some of us will say, it should be like, it should be 2 and a draw for Canelo or whatever, right? So, but I don't mind seeing it, man.
All right, thank you, Mitty. I just want a quick immediate reaction to that. I'm gonna go to Santiago really fast. Santiago, out in LA, how you doing? Santiago.
Hey guys, what's up? What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, as a DAZN customer, I'm assuming, or maybe not a DAZN customer, and obviously a U.S. market consumer that I think DAZN would obviously want to market to. What's this fight for you? 1 out of 10. 10 being you're completely psyched for it, you can't wait for it. Fight party at your house, or 1 like it's all right. I wish I had Jacobs Canelo.
Well, considering it is the third fight in the series, I'm excited, especially if it is on DAZN. Can't beat the fact that I'm only paying $9.99, no pay-per-view. What's not to love about that? And at the same time, too, I'm not going to lie, I would like something different. I was wondering whether or not they would get around to even making articles about negotiations regarding Canelo and Jacobs at least, or Lemieux or whoever. But, yeah, I would throw a fight party, I would. And if I wasn't throwing a fight party and you were doing a live fight chat, I'd probably be joining you for that too, like I did for, the second fight. So I can dig it. I can definitely dig it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sensei. I just wanted that quick immediate reaction from the marketplace about this matchup. Definitely seems like a lot of hardcores are like, yeah, it obviously is a big fight. Is it the one I was dying for at this point? No, we've seen it twice already. But I think for a lot of corporate, exec rooms, that sort of aspect for a lot of the fan base doesn't really compute with them.
No. So to answer your question, what pay-per-views have we got? We've obviously got Broner Pacquiao, January 19th. We've got Spence, Mikey Garcia. We're then gonna get Crawford and Khan.
Okay.
We're waiting obviously that to be 100% official, but that's going to be in there. You're obviously Wilder Fury 2 when that gets made is going to be thrown in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I believe obviously we'll get to that topic, but that's looking maybe April, May-ish, potentially. So apparently that's what Fury wants anyway. So yeah,
and that's the only 4 that's scheduled at this point. Obviously, Mayweather Pacquiao 2 is kind of talked about in the industry. But we have those 4 fights, and obviously add Canelo Triple G for that list. Out of all those fights, imagine someone tells you 12 months ago, hey, all these fights are going to happen in 2019. Don't worry about it. And one of them is not going to be pay-per-view, but the rest will.
Exactly, yeah.
I guarantee everyone out there would not be saying it's Triple G Canelo. It would be a Spence Mikey, right? Or maybe, it would probably be Spence Mikey.
Crawford Khan. Did we expect an ESPN?
I'll put it this way: at least Khan has headlined a pay-per-view card.
A 2018 fan, was you expecting to be paying pay-per-view for an ESPN fight in 2018
and for a Crawford fight again?
Yeah.
I don't know. If again, putting myself in that mindset, in the beginning of 2018, it's January, it's 12 months ago, right? We're all happy. I still probably would say Spence Mikey, like that. That would be a Showtime fight for me.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? And and if I only had to pick one, the other 4 are guaranteed to be pay-per-view, and only one will, and this is the future. And I have like fucking what's his name? Doc from Back to the Future coming back with the fucking sporting bet book, right? Crawford Khan is pay-per-view. Like I can see that. I can see the argument even 12 months ago that's pay-per-view.
My point was just the network he's on, and they've brought out an app, and you're paying for that. You've got like the free channel, the paid.
But hey, it doesn't matter. Let's not forget, this is the same Bob Arum promoter that put Oscar Valdez versus some guy, I think it was Mariaga, and Gilberto Ramirez versus some guy, I forget his name, and then Jesse Magdaleno versus some guy, I forget his name, all on a pay-per-view card. And that was like, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that was like $55. That was like $65.
Was that standard definition, obviously? Shout out Steven Espinoza.
Was it standard definition? No, it wasn't. But the feed was awful. I got on my computer. It was atrocious. But digressing. Again, big fight. I'm very curious to see if it actually gets made. I assume it's going to get made, to be honest. And again, it's a massive fight that's not on pay-per-view. I hope that trend catches on, because it's seemingly that the marketplace, the industry is heavily pushing against that growing trend of streaming. And this is the same sort of dynamic we had in the music industry, a decade ago. The movie industry, a decade ago. I think it's finally hitting sports, and it's time. It's time to get accustomed to this trend, guys.
I'm guessing this is going to make, if it happens, Triple G a lot of money, because he was quoted as saying he won't be fighting in Vegas again. Like
who said that? Sorry, who said that?
Triple G was saying like about fighting in the T-Mobile of Vegas again. I don't get a fair shake there, kind of thing. But we'll see when the checks are flying around whether fuck it, it's a ring, I'll get in it.
Guarantee that is exactly what would happen. Triple G's gonna get another. Well, it's not really necessarily about percentage splits anymore. It's about like a deal, right? Like it's about a long-term sort of Canelo-like deal. So he might not get $365 million for a 10-fight deal. He might get half of that, right? Like he might get a $150 million deal for 10 fights or 5 fights, or something. He might get not 5 fights. It definitely would be more like 10 or 8. It would be something like that. He'd be getting around 10 to 15 million guaranteed per fight. In my mind,
got 10 more fights in the tank.
It doesn't matter. It could be a long-term deal that he doesn't need to complete.
Yeah.
But let's get to, unless you have any more thoughts on Canelo Triple G, let's move to Wilder Fury.
Yeah, no, I was just raising the question that I know they've got the T-Mobile booked, but could it be somewhere else? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think so. It's where the money is, and I doubt Oscar will want to. Again, like the Wembley date for Eddie, I'm sure he doesn't want to leave that date and abandon it. Just like I'm sure Oscar won't want to walk away from a T-Mobile being booked for Cinco de Mayo. So Canelo, I think the point is Canelo's fighting there on that date regardless. Whether they get a deal done with Triple G, if they don't, I'm sure it'll be Jacobs or I saw rumors of Lemieux was still in the mix. He must be out of hospital and everything's all good. But yeah, that's all I was going to say.
Let's get to Wilder Fury by way of ESPN and Frank Warren. Journalist name is Nick Parkinson. I've never heard of this journalist before, but shout out to him because he's a new, fresh blood at ESPN. I like that.
It's not Dan. Let's go.
Yeah, it's new name. I like that. It's an attempt at bringing in fresh names. Even, I'll be honest, me, I'm not a big fan of Steve Kim. We've had some issues in the past. But at least he's a new name at ESPN. I can at least appreciate them bringing him in some aspect.
See if you can end up getting blocked by Nick Parkinson as well.
Oh no, man! I don't want all of ESPN to block me. I don't hate. Anyways, digressing. Wilder Fury, promoter Frank Warren confident of a heavyweight rematch at a U.S. venue. Let's read the quote itself. Dramatic reading music, Rob.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. It's definitely bitter ass Frank Warren, which I absolutely love. We're trying to make that fight at the moment. Everyone wants to fight, and most importantly, the fighters want it. The venue is looking like the U.S. That's where the money is. Tyson was disappointed with the judging with the last fight, as I was. So a lot of these things need to be sorted, but the U.S. is where they want it. Probably in the second quarter. Vegas would be one of the options. I wouldn't want to go back to California. I didn't like working with the California Commission, and there were a lot of things we didn't like there. Tyson's already in the gym, working hard, taking over, and I think we'll get the fight versus Wilder, before June. Eddie Hearn says a lot of things. Oh, I love this. This is where bitter ass Frank Warren comes in.
Where did that go? Jesus.
Yo, like hold on. Hey, Wilder Fury. Yo, fuck you, Eddie Hearn.
Well, hang on.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
I do appreciate Frank Warren, just like Bob Arum, right? Like we were talking about this off air. Those two old guys are the funniest people in the sport. If you don't think that, I think you don't understand the humor of them, honestly. But anyways.
This is like, Frank was like, hang on, I'm doing an interview and I haven't mentioned fucking goddamn horrible old fucking Eddie Hearn. Yes. Throw some shots in there.
Yes, we have to do that. But anyways, let me get back to the quote because it's serious mode, getting character. I'm so glad that you
try not to start this time because you went a little bit porn at the start of this one.
I did. Well, I mean, it's the music. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't blame YouTube.
Okay.
My bad. Eddie Hearn says all these things, but when he says and does are two different things. Eddie Hearn said he won the fight for Joshua with Wilder last year when there was an $80 million deal on the table. But it didn't happen. Joshua will fight Dylan White at Wembley, London on April 13, or Jarrell Miller next. We all know that. We're not complicated. Tyson Fury is the most uncomplicated person you will meet, and he will fight anyone. Okay, there's a bunch of bullshit about him fighting in Germany with Klitschko, blah, 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 blah. Stuff I don't care about. Okay, I'll be honest, because you were talking about, for a long period of time, that Tyson Fury is kind of going to stick to the UK deal, the UK offer, or not his UK offer of old Trafford. And
Trafford.
Is it Trafford?
It's Trafford.
I said Old Trafford. I said Old Trafford last time. You said I was wrong. I just want that on the record. I said Old Trafford last time. You're like, oh, here comes the Yank. Blah blah blah.
No, you must have sounded like you said Trafford, but it's Trafford.
Anyway,
there's another co-host of another show that keeps saying this as well. I don't want to,
Anyways, digressing. Old Trafford, and how that was going to be the fall down to, or the breakdown of the rematch with Wilder Fury, and Wilder was going to fight Dominic Brazil, and it was going to be this big, huge egg on Wilder's face. I just want you to come out and publicly admit that you were wrong about that theory.
All right, that's no problem. But, Eddie Hearn, what was it? Eddie Hearn says and does a lot of things, but these things don't happen. But his client was on British TV bringing this up, that he wants to fight in the UK. He wants to fight at Old Trafford. And he's just gone, how much do we get, Shelley? All right, where do you want us to fight? I feel just because maybe there's that bit more money there, he should try and do something to get this fight in the UK. He keeps saying it's what the fans want. It's what the fans want. We're delivering the best fights, doing it for the fans. Yeah. So the UK fans have had to fly to Los Angeles, and now we've got to fly to Vegas, or potentially the other venue that's in the hat, by the way, is the Barclays Center. So that would be a little bit closer. But Frank, do it for the fans. Dig your heels in a little bit. Wilder wants this fight. He doesn't want to fight AJ. He said that publicly. Like, no amount of money is I'm not gonna fight for AJ. Oh, is this what's this music? The sad music?
Yes, it's the new sad music. You like it?
Yeah, all right. It's a piano that's in tune, unlike the MMA shows that you do. But yeah, Wilder said he doesn't want Joshua. No amount of money would make him fight Joshua next or whatever. I want Fury. I want Fury. Well, let's see how bad he wants Fury. Or is he prepared? I'm not coming to the UK. I'll fight Dominic Brazil. Are the Wilder fans going to be happy with that? I'm sure they will. Like, see, he fights.
You have yet to even address what I'm saying, and I feel like you're going around in circles, Rob.
I'm not.
You have yet to apologize for your
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Theory. Please forgive me.
The rematch is happening. He's not fighting Dominic Brazil. Your ultimate conspiracy theory about how Deontay Wilder is going to lose out this year, I think, has failed. Am I wrong?
No. I'm saying off the back of Frank Warren not doing what his fighter really wanted. He wanted to fight at Old Trafford and bring the fight over here. And so my point is, if he didn't just bend over in negotiations and shake their hand and snap their hand off at whatever they offer and wave at him, he should dig his heels in and try and deliver what his fighter wants. If ultimately they can't, I'm sure.
Well, that's even if Tyson Fury even ultimately fundamentally cares so much about fighting in the UK.
Well, he told the entire nation on free TV on Good Morning Britain I don't know how many people watch that anymore because Piers Morgan's one of the faces of that show. So
yeah, fuck Piers Morgan.
Maybe everyone's popped over to BBC News Breakfast or whatever. So
who hosts? Very quickly, who hosts BBC News Breakfast? I'm curious.
I don't know, but it's not Piers Morgan.
Why are you here? Like, you're my UK co-host.
It's instantly better than Good Morning Britain.
Facts. That is true. Just saying.
Yeah, you could put, I don't know, some historical dictator, whatever, on BBC, and I'd watch that more than Piers Morgan. But anyway, get back to the point. All I'm saying is, his Fury wanted to watch, wanted to fight at Old Trafford for the UK fans. He's the people's champ. Apparently, he's now got that belt.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, I know he said that. Everyone knows he said that. But he just said it. You know what I mean? Like,
all right. Well, this is the thing. If we're just gonna just say that but we can't report and say, all right. Well, Oscar De La Hoya just said that we're negotiating with Triple G. Do we believe him?
I believe he sent out a preliminary message to Triple G's team. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Fury just said that he wants to fight at Old Trafford. Do you believe it?
He didn't just say that. He said it some time ago, and then new information has come out from his promoter, his team, that says different. So it changes. It's very simple. Is it not?
I don't know. I think Frank Warren.
Just for example, if Triple G or Tom Lawford came out and said, "Hey, look, like, no, we're not actually looking for a Canelo fight," then that's new information. It supersedes what and it counters what Oscar said. So now we have to take that into account, do we not? Similar to,
I guess, but I just feel Frank Warren. I don't know. I just feel like he should be doing more for his client.
I think he is. Like,
maybe he's getting him more money, but didn't Fury supposedly give away his $8 million purse? Didn't he do this? Didn't he? Yeah. Well, I don't know. We haven't seen reports that he did, but he said he was gonna. But
I can say I can do a lot. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Or on the other hand, you said you weren't going to do a show, and we're doing one. So
that is true.
Right. But I just feel this is, Fury went over there for Wilder in his, massive back garden compared to ours. But he should, I think Wilder, he said it, wasn't I about to go to Russia? I'll go to England, no problem. But it doesn't seem like he is willing to come over here. To me, but
I don't think it's not a. I don't think it's a matter of not willing to come over there. I think it's very simple. It's about money. Because what is this sport? It is prize fighting.
But why are you worrying about his pockets?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about his pockets, man. I'm not. But you know who's worried about their pockets? Tyson Fury is worried about his own pockets. His wife's worried about his pockets. Deontay Wilder's worried about his own pockets. AJ's worried about his own pockets. Eddie Hearn's worried about his own pockets. Everyone's worried about their own pockets. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right. But I don't know. I just feel this should have been in the UK. But whatever, it looks like it's going to be.
Time out. I definitely agree with you on that aspect. Like, it would have been a better experience for the fight, for the rematch, for the narrative of the rematch, for it to go to the UK. Absolutely. Just like it would be amazing if Canelo Triple G could be in Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. Like, there's a lot of things that it would be awesome. Like Jorge Linares going back to Venezuela and boxing there, but he can't because Venezuela is has a horrible economy right now.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Even that would be awesome. And he used to do that in front of 60,000 people. Usyk fighting in Ukraine in front of 50,000, 60,000 people all the time. That would be amazing. Make him the new Klitschko over there. But money rules. That's why people are talking about Usyk's next fight being in the UK and Fury's fight being in the US and AJ's next fight being in the US. Because respectively for those people, the best thing for their respective pockets is those moves. Am I wrong?
No, it all comes back to money, I guess. But
it does.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It is very unfortunate, but it does. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Midi wants back in. Just he said he can settle this
All right,
for
we're
us.
going to go to Midi and then McGregor, Boxing Stars, which I got to admit is a very interesting name compared, or I should say coupled with that image right there that you have there as your avatar, because it's one shows a very hardcore boxing fan and the name has McGregor in it, so I'm very confused here. But Midi, we're going to go to you. Thoughts on Wilder Fury 2 and how you think you can, quote, settle it between settle this, boys, or help me settle this, or whatever you said. Fuck it.
I will help you settle it, and you'll love that, Matt, because you're right, man. It's 100%. The fact that financially this makes sense, and that's all that is to it, man. Like, so I get you, Robbie, and we had that conversation offline already, right? So Fury wants it in the UK. It's poetic. That's the kind of stuff that you're gonna tell your nation when you come out there. Do you not want to have like hometown advantage? Obviously, you want that, and yes, it will probably be like a stadium in Old Trafford, and that will probably be lit. There'll be quite a few people. I still don't believe that it's a sold out crowd, but it's close to it, and yeah, but that tells you one thing, right? And that's my view on this. Like, probably it's like, it can be debated, but it tells you that he's not as big of well, he's a big draw in the UK. Let's not get it confused, but it's not as big of a draw that people in the US make it sound for UK fans, I believe. Fury is loved and is liked by like a good percentage of the public, but not that massive percentage. I doubt that Fury fills in a 90,000 seater stadium in the UK. I doubt that pay-per-view numbers are that good for Fury because there's no argument for him to bring the fight there. And I'm 100% convinced that Wilder would have come to the UK if it made sense financially, and would have said, yeah, you know what, you came over to the US. If that was an argument to make the fight happen, the rematch happen, if it was a hurdle, they would have conceded on that point because they would have looked at numbers and say, okay, there's not that much of a difference making it in the US or in the UK. They want it on their in their country because they came to us. Let's do that, no problem, let's go. But the reality is, I believe I can say for sure that there's only one fighter, one heavyweight fighter that can bring boxing into the UK, and it's AJ, because I think financially it will make it like a close, competitive financial proposition for any heavyweights in the US. He will just say, "Oh, we can do that in the US." Yeah, he can make, I don't know, whatever the number is, but in the UK it will be maybe more, or if not, a bit, very close to it. And Fury is not that guy, so that's why he's going back to the US. That's pretty much my argument.
Well, thank you, Midi.
Maybe
hold on very quickly, Midi. Do you want this fight? Like, are you happy the rematch is made?
Yeah,
or not made, but I mean, it seems like they are in deep negotiations.
Yeah, I it's all good. Like, it was a draw. It was not satisfactory for anyone. It was plenty of controversy. So, one of them believes he knocks him out. The other one outboxed him, in the eyes of the public. So yeah, that's a good fight. But one thing I said to Robbie again, man, Wilder is lucky, very lucky that he got that draw, because if he didn't get the decision, if Fury had the decision, I'm convinced that Fury would have not given him the rematch. I'm convinced of that. He would have said, you know what, I don't care what's in the contract. He's done it with Klitschko before, I don't care what's in the contract. There's no rematch because I'm going to make the bag with AJ. And, I'm going to retire for 18 months and then come out of retirement and fight AJ. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Sky Sports can put together some kind of 50 million offer, but it will be on BT. And
yeah, maybe, maybe. But no, I mean, Warren knows, right? It makes sense in the US. It makes sense for everyone, so they're gonna do it over there.
Well, thank you, Mitty, for the call. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. McGregor Boxing Stars, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How's it going, boys?
Good. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ireland.
From Ireland. Where at in Ireland?
Yeah. Dublin. Just to clarify something real quick. I know my name might seem interesting. Also, how's it going, Rob? My name might seem interesting, but I have like two surnames, one of which is McGregor. So it's not like the only person in Ireland is named Connor.
No, that's
McGregor.
true. It's true. But I mean, it is a combat sports show. Somebody calling him with McGregor.
Yeah.
It is.
No.
It's
By
a
the way,
safe
you
assumption.
mentioned the picture. Can you tell me the name of the fighter?
It's very small on my screen. It looks like it's either Ray Marciano or Jack Dempsey. I think it's Ray Marciano.
It's neither of them. It's Jimmy McLarney.
Oh, because it's very small. They all look the same back then.
Yeah, they were all a bit different. But just I want to say one thing. Like Rob mentioned, I believe he mentioned Fury said that he wanted to fight at Old Trafford. Do you believe him? Well, I believed him when he said it 3 years ago before the Klitschko rematch was announced at the Manchester Arena on IFL TV. And he said that he wanted to fight at Old Trafford. And he has said this 9 times during his career because that's his dream place to go, the boyhood club he follows. So it would make sense he wants to fight at Old Trafford. Does it mean he believes it's going to happen when he's been saying it for 7 years? No. But he wants it to happen. As would anyone.
Do you think Frank Warren could deliver that if he wanted to?
I don't think it would sell out Old Trafford, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. The only reason I don't think it would sell out Old Trafford is because I don't think Fury is entertaining enough in the UK, and he also doesn't have the main casual fan base. He has the hardcore fan base in the UK, but he doesn't have a casual fan base, which is a problem. It's a dramatic problem. The reason Matchroom do so well is because they run the casual market in the UK. All you need to do is know that Sky's viewing figures are 4 times what BT's is. Their subscriptions is 6 times what BT's is. So they run that entire market. So when you base it off of that, you kind of have to think it might be difficult to sell, especially when Frank Warren has had the most belly-up cards in UK sport history, fights that haven't even taken place. So if he books a venue like Old Trafford, are they going to be taking Frank Warren at his word? They'd also need to do this outside of the Premier League season. They'd also need to arrange it when Man United don't have a home game. So this would have to be during the summer, and that's it. That's the only window they would have. Other than that, they have no other window. So it's very unlikely to do it at a ground that's weekly used every week. There's at least one game a week at Old Trafford over the last 2 months between the League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League, etc. But when you use Wembley or the Principality like Cardiff, you're using national stadiums. And these stadiums, they're not used every week. They're only used once every 2 months. Maybe concerts, maybe rugby games take place there. But other than that, nothing happens. So I would just say that it's unrealistic for that to happen. I would say another stadium, sure. But it's difficult to say. Do I think it should take place in the UK? Not really, because it's more likely to do better pay-per-view numbers in the US anyway. If you do it on UK pay-per-view, you have to take away the US pay-per-view. Unlike with Joshua and Wilder, which would be a bigger draw, this one you just have to scratch off US pay-per-view because people aren't going to tune in on a Saturday at 5 p.m. when they've got NFL and basketball and baseball to watch. So that's direct competition. That's why pay-per-views take place at 10 p.m. in the US normally, or 11 or 12, depending on which side of the coast you're on. Mm-hmm. So these are all different things that you need to take into a circumstance. It's not me having a go. It's just things don't make sense to me. Like, it just doesn't add up mathematically. And you asked Matt, why is he caring about their pockets? He doesn't. They do. And that's what they need to pay attention to. Fighters pay attention to their pockets, and that's the argument always. So I can't say, hey, I want to see Anthony Joshua make 5 million when Joshua wants to make 9 million because I want to see him fight someone. I can't say I want to see Wilder make 3 million and take a fight against Dillian White when he wants to make 7 million for that fight, because at the end of the day, he's the one who calls out his career and I just have to fucking deal with it half the time because I'll still fucking pay for the fights. And that's reality. And we all watch fights, we're talking about it now, we all complain about it, and we still drive up the bus. And there you go. That's pretty much my 2 cents. So I would like to see the fight happen. I'd also like to see the fight happen with Triple G and Canelo. Because it's still a fucking good fight. Would I prefer to see Jacobs a fresh fight? Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, the last 2 fights, even marred in controversy, were exceptional fucking fights. Both of which could have been fight of the year contenders outside of the controversy, and that's why they weren't considered. And we don't get to see fights like that very often, and it could be the end of Golovkin in a sense. And I'd like to see him go out on a good note because he's had a decent career. Not in terms of his opponents, obviously, some of which were lackluster up until Jacobs Canelo, but in terms of his performances, in terms of entertaining, he's gave us value. So why can't he go out on a good note, even if he loses? So I'd rather see him do that than get schooled for like $1 million against Billy Joe.
That's a good point. I've seen talks of, that supposedly negotiations or wanting to negotiate the Billy Joe fight, but why would anyone go near Billy Joe Saunders now, especially now he hasn't got his belt? I can't see.
He doesn't have a belt. He's lost a considerable amount of his fan base because of his actions. He lost like 20,000 Twitter followers after all of that bullshit. He's gone through all the drug fucking issues. He's now labeled a drug chief for Xylophone, which is absolute fucking bullshit because it's not on the fucking banned list yet. There you go. So it's not on the banned list in terms of outside of competition. In the ring, yes, but not outside. And that's not just like UCAD, that's also WADA. And WADA does actually run that shit. But I don't know. It's one of these things where I just like to see Triple G have a good note. Canelo probably, he's already etched himself into the Hall of Fame, but if he were to dominate the trilogy, 2 wins and a draw, that'd be huge to his claim. He's essentially a 3-weight world champion, even with the regular belt, and that's like fucking nonsense, but whatever. So it's just a good fight. And I'd actually like to see it at super middleweight because I'd like to see Triple G with the extra weight on it. And I'd like to see it for the I don't want to see it at middle. I'd like to see it at 168. I think that'd be good. The extra weight or a catch weight of 164 so Golovkin doesn't have to cut as much weight as he's older. Give himself something. Give himself something to cling to. Canelo's had more time to acclimatise to the weight, so maybe he'd say, yeah, okay, so there we go. We could have a catch weight. And I could see that being very possible.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you say, obviously, especially about, going back into like the Wilder Fury stuff, for example, because, you made all the points that I did, just in a better accent. And for Canelo, Triple G, I would say, or I actually want to touch on this. For your Billy Joe Saunders talk about performance-enhancing drug and his suspension and such, it was UCAD's ruling because they are going off the WADA code. It wasn't WADA's ruling or WADA conducting the test. UCAD's an agency that conducts itself through the WADA code and WADA accreditation, just for that very technical aspect of it, just for people to understand. And I agree with you.
It was actually VADA. It was VADA who made the busting, not UCAD. And UCAD adhered to it. It was VADA who flagged it to the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission.
But I understand. But when you talked about WADA and how it's not banned under WADA, out of competition, etc.
UCAD adheres to WADA.
Yes,
they adhere to their administrative.
Yes. I'm just adding again a technicality to it. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with your point at all. I'm just adding a technicality to it, just another layer for listeners to understand. And I agree with a lot of what you say about Canelo Triple G and the fact that like Triple G deserves sort of like this like potential hurrah last fight. I don't think this is his last fight, but I think he's not going to win at the top for much longer. It seems like his athletic ability is in decline. It's not that he cannot be elite. It's not that he's not still a top 10, top 5 middleweight. It just seemingly to me, he has lost a little bit. And Canelo is able to take advantage of that, especially we saw, I think, in the rematch with the ability of Canelo to walk him down and make it that sort of fight. So, yeah, I really have nothing else to say. I mean, McGregor, Boxing Stars, do you have anything else to say or any other questions for us?
One question I have, because I haven't really gotten to ask anyone about it. What's this weird nonsense I'm hearing about Klitschko, Dillian White at Wembley?
Check out our last show we did. I don't know if you heard it. We played the audio from Steve Bunce, obviously, of BT and BBC. He was on his radio show podcast, obviously. What's the name of it? I forget.
Costello and Bunce.
Costello and Bunce. And he said that Vladimir Klitschko is potentially coming back at that Wembley date for AJ to move to fight Joe Miller in New York. And he would fight a big-name UK heavyweight. And then everyone obviously made the assumption that it's Dillian White. So, yeah, that is what the rumor has been. And again, go check out the last show if you want to know more info about it.
Okay, fair enough. Just sounds to me like Steve Bunce doing what he's supposed to do as a BT colleague. And that's drive a wedge in between shit that might actually be happening just to spark controversy against it, which is what they all do.
Yeah, he seems very certain on the Klitschko's coming back. And then he threw in like a potentially against a big name British heavyweight, not named Fury, not named Joshua.
Well, Steve Bunce is also the person who broke the news that Lennox Lewis and Vitaly Klitschko were going to have an exhibition match.
Oh, did that stem from him originally?
That stemmed from that podcast. Steve Bunce is also the same guy who said Mike Tyson was going to come out of retirement 7 years ago. Steve Bunce always goes back and names random people and says they're coming out of retirement. He was also the person who first mentioned Frank Bruno wanted to come out of retirement. Before Bruno did confirm that he wanted to go back into boxing, but he did say that. And what happened? Nothing.
Yo, McGregor, why you got to hate on this fantasy, man? Because I like the fight. Do you not like the fight?
I like the fight, but
Okay.
do I prefer Dillian White versus him, Klitschko, and possibly losing and not getting a title shot, or do I prefer the idea of Dillian White getting Wilder or Joshua and having a title shot after all he's done? I'd rather see the man have a title shot than a Klitschko fight. Sure, I'd like to see him make the money because Klitschko at Wembley, if they sold that out, would be fucking huge. But he wants a world title, but he seems to be walking away from the Joshua offer. So,
well, according to him, it was a low offer.
I'd say that too if I wanted more money.
Yeah, I mean,
well, what's a low offer? What's a low offer when you're not even mandatory?
Mm-hmm.
But does it really matter when he obviously is the biggest draw domestically for an AJ fight?
Sure, but AJ's got to do 75,000 seats against anybody. He did it against the Can.
True, but when we're talking about money and what people make, it's really not about that 75,000. It's about the pay-per-view buy rate. And AJ versus Big Baby, if it's in the UK, does a lower buy rate, in my opinion, than a Dillian White rematch.
I would agree, but I also think if AJ actually fights Jarrell Miller and they're not talking UK, they're talking US, I don't think it's going to do much pay-per-view buy in the UK.
I
which
think
doesn't make much sense.
I agree. I agree. Obviously, just due to the time difference. But I don't fundamentally disagree with you too much. Again, I just think it's a issue of very marginal issues or differences, I should say.
Yeah, look, the long story short is the fights that have all been mentioned: Dillian White against Joshua, Dillian White against Klitschko, Joshua against Miller, Joshua against White, Joshua against Wilder, Wilder versus Fury. Any of these fights we'll be happy to watch because it's better than 2006 with Klitschko fighting against fucking Eddie Chambers.
Yes.
So
yes, it is. And again, even with the if Klitschko comes back, that's another name in the division to add to it. And I think
that instantly goes into most people's top 10 heavyweights.
I would probably agree with that. I think even Klitschko out of retirement can probably come out and beat Adam Wanaki, maybe Big Baby, certain guys.
Dominic Brazil, possibly.
Oh, obviously, yeah, yes. I mean that goes without question. Derek Chisora, if they were to fight, something like that. There's a lot that Klitschko beats. There's a lot of people that Klitschko beats in that division still. But that top, I love all the matchups he could be in those matchups. And like you said, all the variations we could have. It's all great fights that I think at the end of the day when we watch, we're going to be excited for, we're going to like. And I know everyone wants to see AJ Wilder right now, but it doesn't really make that much sense right now, in my opinion, and I think probably in a lot of people's opinion.
Yeah, that's why I don't really talk about that fight anymore. Too many people have run that fight bone dry. We already did 5 years of Mayweather Pacquiao, and now it looks like we're doing another year and a half of that. So, it's all just the way they sell these things. Pretty much nowadays, they follow the Sugar Ray Leonard Hagler method, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They leave things running for a very long time. Some people get tired of it, but they still tune it, and they know they will. Because I was watching. Well, actually, I was watching live, but I bought the pay-per-view for Mayweather Pacquiao. I was working, but other than everything I've said, like I don't really have too much more to add. All I want to say is, well done to both of you guys for setting up your new channel.
Thank you.
I used to be a regular listener over on CBB. Used to be. I know Rob quite well. Rob knows me quite well. But I wish you guys the best.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Cheers, man.
We're going to head over
to
the U.S. Thank you, McGregor Boxing Stars. Head over to Dallas. Good Patreon supporter and friend of the show. Somebody I still owe a shirt to that I need to start packing and sending in like the next few days.
Never going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen. I have the shirt. Like I have it for him.
What does it say on it? Hashtag Keith Thurman #1.
Yo, imagine.
It's Gary, right?
Yeah, it is Gary. Of course. I mean, who else? It's not Fugatti. I mean, come on. I'm not going to be that nice as an intro to Fugatti. You know that. Duh. I'm going to be disrespectful. But anyway, digressing from that, out to Gary in Dallas. I hope he's having a great day on this beautiful Saturday without any fights. No UFC, no boxing. It's weird. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Matty. How are you?
Doing good.
Triple G versus Canelo 3. I don't know. I mean, I'm more excited for that than I am Keith Thurman versus Josecito Lopez. That's about it.
Yo, hold on, Gary. That took maybe 7 seconds into the call to mention Keith Thurman's name.
I think that is a record, though.
That is definitely a record. Holy shit! Oh my god.
I'll get back to Keith. We're not done with him yet. But yeah, it's not even a bad fight. Like both fights were good, entertaining fights. They're obviously both close and competitive. But it just does nothing for me. I think like if you want to see who's the best middleweight in the world, like you have to fight all the middleweights. And like I don't know, I think getting older, Triple G is going to do anything different to beat Canelo this time. I can't see Canelo winning. So, I don't know. It does. Again, I'm not against the fight. It's a good fight. It should be entertaining. The first two are entertaining. So I don't object to the fight. I would just rather see him fight any of the other middleweights besides Triple G. And I'd rather see Triple G fight any of the other middleweights besides Canelo.
Oh, Matt, you're gone. Sorry, I was just say that last little bit again. Sorry, there's a bit of news coming in right now. You keep doing this.
Oh.
You're always in. No, it's just Barbosa Box, who's usually a very good source. There's also saying that DAZN have actually agreed a multi-fight deal with DAZN. Triple G has agreed a multi-fight deal with DAZN. So, yeah, looks like May the 4th is happening, Gary.
Yeah, no, I kind of figured that when from everything you guys said. So again, I really, the loser in this all is Jamal Charlo, because Jamal Charlo is supposed to be getting that title shot. That's supposed to be Jamal Charlo's shot, and then they told him, okay, beat Triple G, and then you can have the shot. And then they were like, nah, just kidding. We're just going to give the shot to Triple G instead. It's just like, what does this guy have to do to get a title shot that he's earned? So, I mean, he's the loser in all of this.
Yeah, but I hear you. I mean, he's desperate for that big fight, right? So, I don't know where he's going to get it.
He didn't help himself with his last performance, but he still is in the mandatory position. Like, I don't understand why they're letting him fight Triple G without fighting Charlo. Like, they wouldn't let Charlo fight him without going through Triple G.
Gary, it's very simple. It's very simple. It's the same reason why I told Rob that Old Trafford for Wilder Fury 2 wasn't going to work out, because there was more money in the U.S. You know why the WBC is going to? You know why the WBC? I know you know, but just to answer for the people that are listening that may not know, because I know you are proposing that idea and topic. The reason why the WBC will obviously allow a Canelo Triple G rematch is because their cut of that deal and their sanctioning fee off of that is obviously going to be far more than a Jamal fight.
No, you're right. That's obviously the reason. He's just acting stupid because, like, it's so illogical to say that Charlo, who is a mandatory, has to be Triple G to get the Canelo fight. But Triple G doesn't have to be Charlo to get the Canelo fight. He can just get it straight away. And it's the same thing with Gillian White. What does this guy have to do to get a title shot? And I don't know, Rob, do you think this is realistic? Do you think that Gillian White is going to fight Vlad Klitschko in April?
I'm not sure. It's interesting. Like if Klitschko is coming back and Steve Bunce is right, then yeah. But I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. Obviously, we've seen apparently a low ball offer from AJ. Whether that means another one's going to follow it up, or whether that's, look, we try to make the fight and we're going to get the Miller fight. But can I just quickly say, back to Charlo, do we think we know Jacobs is with Al Heyman? If this news that we're hearing is all true and we're going to get Canelo Triple G, does Jacobs go, fuck it, and let's get it on with Charlo over on PBC?
He could do that. That could happen. I don't know how much money there. If it's worth it for Jacobs to wait out. That's really why I don't like the Canelo series. Canelo keep fighting Triple G, because all the other middleweights are just going to wait it out and say, well, I'll fight him next, because fighting Canelo is the biggest purse. So I don't want to risk losing and lose my chance to fight Canelo, so I'll just wait it out. So, like with Triple G versus Jacobs too, would that intrigue you? Would that be an interesting fight for you?
So what was the fight again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Jacobs Triple G too.
Triple G Jacobs too.
Yeah. I like that matchup.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Or Triple G versus Charlo, would that interest you?
Of course.
As I said, there's plenty of fights that Triple G can make that are still intriguing, that are still big money fights, and let Canelo fight the other guys in the division. Like, if there was nobody else in the division, if the middleweight division was in the position that it was 6-7 years ago, when there wasn't much talent in there, I would say, okay, let him keep fighting. But there's so many good fighters. Let him get a chance. Let's find out who the best guy is. Right? Because it wouldn't surprise me if Andre could beat everyone in that weight class. I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying, just from the looks of it, he'd have a chance against any of those top middleweights, right? But we're not going to find that out because no one's getting a chance to fight Canelo except for Triple G, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I get that it's all about the money at the end of the day. And Triple G versus Canelo is the biggest payday. So we'll keep getting that. I get that. But I also have to pat myself on the back. But I told you last time, Rob, that we were going to get Fury and Wilder too. I told you, you were saying you thought it wasn't going to happen. I was saying it's absolutely going to happen. Both guys want that fight. There's a ton of money in the rematch. That fight will get made.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind. But I just wish Frank Warren would dig his heels in a little bit for his fighter. But whether he can deliver that fight, I don't know, in the UK. So just bend over and do what the Americans say again, whatever. Oh, let's all go to Vegas again, whatever.
I don't like that. I don't understand the framing of that. Do you understand Gary, help me out here. Do you understand why Rob's framing it that way? Because I don't. I fundamentally don't. Your boy's making more money. Why are you complaining? Why are you worried about his pockets?
I'm not. I'm trying to make the fight where he makes less money, aren't I?
I don't understand why.
Because you think I'm worrying about his pockets. No, I think it should be in the UK. And I think Frank Warren should have done more. It seems like this fight got made real quick. So it's literally all about the money, not what McGregor Boxing said. Fury's wanted to fight. It's his dream fight. He's wanted to fight there for 7. He said it 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, whatever. Couldn't he have got that fight for his fighter? Obviously not. Could he even deliver that fight there? Probably not.
Just for argument's sake, I'm sorry to hold on, Gary. Hold on, Gary. I'm sorry to hijack your call because Rob's talking some fucking rubbish here, and I feel like me and you on the same wavelength. Let's say, for argument's sake, hypothetical. If Eddie Hearn was promoting Tyson Fury in this example, do you think Eddie Hearn could sort of make the deal and to use your words and not bend over backwards and to use other sort of vitriolic phrasing that you used, profanity?
I meant bend over forwards.
Yeah. Which is obviously a connotation to sex, provocative, profanity.
No,
what? No, hold on. Again. Do you think Eddie Hearn would be able to make the deal, or would he just say, "Hey, look, there's more money, obviously, in the rematch in the U.S. Let's go there"?
Well, they turned down $50 million to fight in the UK, right? In America, right?
That's not what I'm asking.
He's not just saying how much. Oh yeah, we're there. Let's book the tickets. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't jumped straight at it.
So in your mind,
I think Eddie has a much better chance of delivering a fight that his fighter wants than Frank Warren has.
But think about it, the fight already happened in the U.S. There's not some
exactly.
So the idea that it has to be in the UK is just not true. It happened in the US. It was a massive success worldwide. It makes more money over there. I think
it should have been in the UK.
You really for maybe the average fan over there, yeah, sure, of course. But for anyone involved in the fight, no. Why? Why? How does it benefit anyone involved?
Oh,
Silence.
No, you're right. No, money-wise, I understand. There's way.
I didn't say money. I just said, how does it benefit? How does it benefit anyone involved for the fight to be in a place where people make less money, where the fight's less of a global media fixture? Because if it's in Vegas, if it's in New York, if it's in LA, it's trending more worldwide. It is. You don't think that?
Probably, yeah, but I don't know. This is a sport. I don't know. I just feel like we've done it there. Now do it here. Like we played you at home. Now you play away from home.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, just sport. I don't know how it works for not the World Cup, but the Champions League. In terms of picking stadiums, I don't know how it works over there. But for example, in the US for Super Bowl, it's a site fee basically. That determines who basically gets it, is who posts the most money up.
Yeah.
So is that not a like worldwide sporting normity with the industry? Is who's putting up the most money for the site? Okay, that's where X sporting event goes.
No, you're right, but I don't know why you brought up the Champions League, where that's a league system and you play each other home and away.
Well, for the final cup, that's what I'm talking about. Because for obviously,
right, the final,
Because using the NFL example, it's not like every playoff game is like that. It goes to who's has home field advantage, basically, who has the better win.
But I don't think the Champions League final is
college football.
But again, that pinnacle. That's what we're talking about. The pinnacle of a sporting league. This the equivalent to that in boxing would be a championship fight, is it not? And that is the norm for all high level championship level events. It's kind of passed off to the biggest dealer.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Someone will probably correct me and say, of course they bid for it, but the Champions League final just moves from city to city. It's not like you'd get
Is there just a rotation?
Yeah, it doesn't say be at Wembley every year. Wembley will get it, then like Barcelona Stadium or something, or a big stadium in Italy would get it, and then it'll be in Germany, and then it'll be, you know what I mean? It just moves around. It's not like the biggest country that can keep paying the most. So you'd think one country would have had it 3-4 times in a row, but it hasn't.
No, I understand. Again, this is asking for clarification because I'm not from there. Is it a frequent thing for the Championship League Cup match to be in a city that neither team are from? Is that common? Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I kind of missed it because I was looking at the chat.
Do you think the final match of the Championship League is that commonly at cities where neither team are from? You understand?
I'm trying to think back to where it's been and who's been in the finals, but it has happened where, obviously, the final just happens to be one of the teams, ground, football stadium. So, but I don't know how regularly that's happened. But
like, for example, obviously, like Barcelona FC versus like Arsenal in
Arsenal,
whatever, right? Hey, don't hate.
Right,
and the game be in Germany or Paris or Italy, that sort of
yeah. But anyway, I get it. Vegas is where the money is, and this, that, and the other. But as a UK fan, I'm disappointed that it's not here because I would have wanted to go and watch it.
Well, again, sorry, we totally took over Gary's call. Gary, can you please wrap up your call if you can? I apologize.
Can I speak again? Because that'd be great.
Yes, you can. You're allowed to. I totally apologize. That's my bad.
That's so good. I don't even remember where I was going. Oh, Rob. Since Fury won 10 rounds last time and had to settle for a draw, do you think if he wins all 12 rounds in the rematch, they'll give him a split decision victory, or do you think he'll get another draw if he wins all 12 rounds this time?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I know, like I say, Fury's team were very disappointed. Forget the Mexican judge that lives in California that scored it for Wilder, but they were very disappointed with the UK judge for giving it the draw. They felt like, come on, the UK guy kind of went against us. But I don't know. I don't know what Fury had to do to get the decision that night, because for me, he won it fairly easily. I know he got knocked down twice, and a lot of people said, how can you win a fight when you've been knocked down twice? Well, quite simply mathematics. That's just how it works.
12 rounds.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said before, when I watched it and I was like, Fury has got this comfortably, this is no problem. And then he went down in the 12th. I was like, yeah, that's just throwing a potential spanner in the works. That's kind of the thing that can cause the argument, like the debate. So, but yeah, I don't know. Perhaps he has to win all 12 rounds and knock Wilder down once or something, just to make sure.
What do you think, Matt? If Fury throws a shutout, 12 rounds to none, do you think they get the split decision victory, or do you think it's another draw?
I think it's if he wins every single round, it's a unanimous decision win. They might give Wilder like 3 rounds.
Okay, so you think Wilder starts with 3 rounds in the bag going into the fight?
Yeah, sure. Well, because let's be honest. I mean, even if Fury wins every round, there's going to be close rounds in this fight. Like, let's be honest. Even when you can argue, let's say when we come on Sunday show or Monday show after the fight, and we'd say, yeah, man, Fury arguably won every round. We're going to say arguably.
Sure,
but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
I said you can go back and you can find rounds to give Wilder. You can do that. But then you're looking to give rounds to Wilder. And I would ask, why are you looking to give rounds to Wilder? Why are you just going to fight that you see?
Well, we're not talking about retroactive scoring. We're just saying, when I said Sunday or Monday, I'm just saying, like, when we come on the show, we'll say.
No, I understand.
Yeah. It's not like.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Gary. I know you're joking, but do you really think that Fury wins all 12 rounds versus Wilder?
I mean, he could. I mean, I thought he won at least 9. I gave Fury 9 rounds in the last fight.
Okay.
I don't think it's unreasonable that he wins. Again, and I'm not like Rob. I don't think that he won the fight easily. Winning the fight easily is what Devin Haney did yesterday, right? He won all those rounds easily.
Yes.
That's what I thought that he did enough to win 9 rounds. I thought one round. I thought there were 2 close rounds. I thought the 5th and the 6th were close. I gave the 5th to Fury. I gave the 5th to Fury, and I gave the 6th to Wilder. But I thought he did enough. He did more in every round than did Wilder, right? So the fight was closer than the scorecards would have indicated, right? Because I look at these rounds, and I say, Fury did a little more in the first round. He did a little more in the second round. He did a little more in the second. And you get there, it's like, okay, at the end of the day, the scorecards are wide, but it wasn't like an easy victory. It was very close. He just did a little more in every round, I thought. I think if you're looking at these rounds, each as individual rounds, Fury did a little bit more. Not that he was doing great, but he was doing just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I don't know. To say you've done a little bit more in every round, and then say you didn't win easily, I kind of disagree. But if it was
I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I'm not, because you don't honestly believe that. It's okay. Nice fishing attempt. Gary, any last thoughts on your call?
Do you think that later in the year, maybe next year, that we'll get Thurman, Josefito Lopez Part 2?
Because it doesn't happen? Is that what you're saying?
No, even if it does happen, do you think that, because, I mean, this is the fight everyone wants, right? Thurman versus Josefito Lopez. So do you think that we'll get a rematch?
Gary, I saw you make that comment on the Klitschko White show about how, oh, look at Klitschko, man, taking years off, always comes back to the top, right? Doesn't need a Lopez, right? And I mean, yeah. I know you're joking, but for the people listening, like, you do understand, right, that that's a very bad example because Klitschko lost when he did that, and he most likely would lose versus Dylan White if he were to do it again. And that would be the bad idea and the bad career path potentially. Right?
No, wait. Say it. I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't follow all that.
Okay, I'll repeat it. Okay. Gary, you brought up in the last show with the Klitschko White, the show, right, about how, Klitschko doesn't need a Josefito Lopez. You know, he doesn't take years off and fight and tune up, right? Yeah. And I get that's a joke, but obviously you understand that that's a bad example because Klitschko lost when he did that. And I think most people probably think that Dylan White beats him in a matchup right now. And so therefore isn't really a good example to bring up because it's not the best career path to take when you're coming off a long layoff is to fight, a top 5 opponent. That usually doesn't work well for most people.
Can I just throw two? Let me throw two daggers in your theory.
Daggers.
Sugar Ray Leonard took 2.5 years off and came back in 1987. You know who he fought?
Who?
Marvin Hagler.
Yes.
Beat him.
How old was
Moving
Marvin
up in
Hagler
weight.
then? How old was Marvin Hagler then?
It was Hagler's last fight. He was,
it was
33
Hagler's retirement fight. Interesting.
He retired because he lost. He retired because he wasn't good anymore.
Hold on.
Most people thought Hagler won that fight. It was very close.
I understand, but it was also in your own example, most people think Sugar Ray Leonard even lost that fight. Interesting. You don't understand, like, again, that's not analogous to coming back and fighting a champion who's in his prime or a contender who's in his prime, like AJ, like Dylan White.
Hagler was in his 30s, but he was still considered one of the best fighters in the world.
I'm not I added the caveat of prime. I hope you understood that. Because Hagler was old. He may have still been at the top level, but similar to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's still at the top level, but he is not the same Manny Pacquiao that fought Marquez, fought Barrera, fought whoever. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, same with Roy Jones, same with Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev. Are we going to really rate that win for Kovalev over Bernard Hopkins? Really, in hindsight. And look at the Joe Smith fight off of a long layoff. Again, old fighters, long layoffs, not very. It doesn't equal great outcomes, especially when they fight the best competition that are young.
Let me try this other. Let me try the other one, because we're just going to disagree. I don't think Hagler had shown any signs of regressing. Is what I was saying. I mean, he might not have been 26 anymore. He might have been in his 30s. I think he was 32 or 33. I think he was 32. But he hadn't shown any signs of declining. But let me try the other one. Floyd Mayweather took 2 years off and fought Juan Manuel Marquez, who had just beaten Manny Pacquiao and Juan Diaz.
Marquez was at 135, dog. Stop. Come on. That was a guy that was 2 divisions lower than him.
So Marquez was no good either, right?
It's not that he was no good. It's that there is obviously an asterisk combined to it. It wasn't like he was the top guy at 147 at the division they were fighting at. He was the top guy 2 divisions below.
Okay, he had fought at 140. He fought his last fight. He fought Juan Diaz, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think he fought Diaz at 140. So it was one weight class. And it was supposed to be at 144, but Floyd didn't bother making the catch weight. So, Floyd was the bigger guy. Clearly, he was the bigger guy. But Marquez was no tune-up. Would you agree that Marquez is not a tune-up for anybody?
Of course. But he's definitely. But again, he's not analogous to an AJ or a Dylan White. Respective to the division at that time. Respective to the division at that time. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You could go on.
Let's
go on.
Hold on, Gary. Just for argument's sake, in a Klitschko White fight, are you picking Klitschko to win?
No, I'm picking White. I thought people would pick Klitschko, but I think it's what I'm hearing. It's pretty unanimous that people are picking White. I thought a lot of people would pick Klitschko.
Okay, was that even close to the same aspect for Mayweather Marquez? With people thinking Marquez would beat Mayweather? You were around back then. Come on.
That was, I guess it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, we were all around back then. I remember it.
I don't think anyone picked Marquez. Although I thought the fight was going to be a lot more competitive than it was. I didn't think it was going to be a 120, 108 type setup. I thought the fight would be fairly competitive. I thought Marquez was just a master boxer. Even though he was smaller, he could win some rounds against anybody. But he was clearly never in that fight.
I agree. And obviously...
No, I don't know that.
Obviously, I will semi-give you Leonard and Hagler. But then again, Leonard is maybe a top 15 boxer of all time. Klitschko is maybe a top 20 heavyweight of all time, arguably, maybe. Like there is a massive difference in terms of levels between those two guys, I would argue. Same with Mayweather, same with these others we've talked about.
Well, Keith Thurman is. I forget I'm not talking to Ness now. Who says that Keith Thurman is the next Floyd Mayweather? But if Keith Thurman's supposed to be the best welterweight of this era, why does he need a tune-up? Well, why does he need a year of tune-ups to fight Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence if he's that good?
He's coming off the back of surgery, Gary. He's coming off the back of surgery, Gary. Don't forget.
He had a microscopic procedure over a year ago. Come on, well, let's be serious. Let's talk like adults.
It's bullshit. Sorry, Gary. I just threw the line out there and you took a big bite.
If he is that good, if he's the best welterweight of his era, why does he need all these tune-ups? Right? Like, if you, my thing is, like, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Time out. What do you mean all these tune-ups? It's one fight.
It's one tune-up. Okay. But my point was, it's one fight. I don't think we're going to see him fight again for another year after this. I think he's on the Gary Russell Jr. plan.
You know what, Gary? We're gonna make another bet here, another shirt bet. Okay, if Keith Thurman fights twice this year, I forget what like my side of it was for the last bet. We're thinking of it before, but if I lose, I'll give you another shirt for free.
Another shirt.
I will.
Shut up, Rob.
Up my Patreon. It's pledge if he does. And either way, I'm a winner. If he fights again, I want him to fight again. I like watching him fight. And if he doesn't fight, like I don't think he will, I win the bet. So either way, I'm a winner. Yeah, I'll make that bet.
All right. Thank you for the call, Gary.
All right.
We're going to go quickly back to Santiago because I bet he wants to talk about Wilder Fury, and then we're going to head on out of here. Again, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. If you want to call in last minute, make Rob stick around for a lot longer at 1 a.m., go back all the way to 1:30 a.m., make him stay for the whole show. Call in 323-870-4051, press 1 to get in the queue, or email me at mixedcombatradio@gmail.com. All the information and links below in the description. And again, if you listen on podcast, drop that 5-star review, and then head over to patreon.com/mixedcombatradio to help support the show financially, which is what Gary was talking about. Rob, it looks like you want to talk and mention something. You have a little grimace on your face. What is it?
No, I was just saying, don't feel compelled that you need to make me stick around. You know, if you want to wrap this up, that's fine.
You're not talking to me. You're not talking. You're talking to the listeners. It's up to the listeners when we on the show.
No, it's good. It's good. But shout out to Patreon. We know 25, I think, patrons signed up. So
yes.
Thank you to everyone who's become a patron recently, and all the new subscribers. It's really gaining some momentum now. It's really gaining, a bit of steam behind.
Thank you for every new Patreon. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Definitely appreciate it. Championship rounds coming out Monday. I'm gonna make a post later today, so you guys can leave me questions and topics you want me to discuss. Definitely go check out Boxing Banter episode 2 if you guys are new. I think everyone's gonna love that episode. What else? So we have an interview up with Roy Jones about his move to UFC Fight Pass and not to DAZN and ESPN Plus for his streaming deal.
Jones.
Roy Jones.
Oh, was it Roy Jones? All right. I thought it was at the UFC thing. Oh, all right.
It is slightly a UFC thing, but it is boxing. It is Roy Jones.
Okay.
Roy Jones starting his own promotional company and has a massive deal with the UFC Fight Pass.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Roy Jones is doing next.
That's why I didn't watch it yet, because I thought it was John Jones.
It clearly says Roy Jones. Clearly. But anyways, we're going to go to Santiago.
Yeah, Santi, how are you?
Yes. God damn, you fucking bellend. Santi, how you doing?
Hey guys, what's up? Just listening to another edition of Mixed Combat Radio. managing the Facebook page, and yeah, nice to hear that there are negotiations going on. Hopefully, we'll have an announcement soon, because it seems like there's a bunch of announcements that we're gonna get in the coming weeks. And yeah, you already know. With now, if it confirmed that GGG is with the Zone and Canelo already with the Zone, you're bound to see that fight, on the Zone, $9.99 instead of paying what we would have paid last time. And making it a point, too, that any and all fights that I do catch, I'll try to catch in theaters, because I'd rather pay $25 than $75. And I'm excited to see that we'll be getting the rematch with Wilder and Fury, too. I can only imagine how the rematch will play out now that both guys have had a chance to see what the other does, what the other lacks, what the other is good at. And definitely, I think the improvements are going to be more in line with what Wilder can do versus what Fury can do. So it'll be interesting to see how the banter comes up in the leading weeks, right up to them having their formal press conference to announce the fight.
I agree.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I will say this much, though. I will say this much, though. I am surprised that it's not going to be in the UK, where I figured they could have probably made the most bank. I could have easily seen this in Wembley. I could have imagined Rob being extra happy to be able to go see that fight live there with a very raucous crowd and everything. But hopefully we'll get a good fight. We'll get some good officiating, and we can only hope for better. Not really much else to touch on about. Tomorrow we have boxing with the Caleb Plant and Jose Uzcategui fight happening at the Microsoft Theater. I'll probably be going there with Ferngully, and seeing the return of the Jackal, El Chacal, Guillermo Rigondeaux too. So it's going to be good. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the topics, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call.
How do you feel the Wilder Fury 2 rematch goes?
To be honest with you, if I don't see any new fundamentals employed by Wilder for the rematch, I easily see Fury mixing it up between an ugly fight and an entertaining fight, and making sure he does what he can to come away with a decision. Whether or not it's pretty, he knows now that he definitely needs to be convincing in his performance, because he looked good in the first fight. He knows how he beat Klitschko. He's got to have a combination of both if he wants to come away with the win, especially on any territory.
I agree with a lot of what you say, Santiago. Thank you for the call. Robert?
Yes.
That's it. Final thoughts? Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so obviously, again, we had the little bit of news, Canelo Triple G, and we wondered, I guess that's leaning towards Triple G signing with the Zone. Well, mid-show, rumor mill kind of sources say that Triple G has signed a multi-fight deal with the Zone. So, yeah, true Mixed Combat Radio style. A little bit of news in the middle of it or just before it or whatever. But, yeah, Wilder Fury 2 in America, whoop-de-doo, whatever, who cares? Only joking, it's obviously a good fight. No, just wanted to see it here, that was all. Didn't want another 5 a.m. fucking pay-per-view to watch. But, yeah, again, thanks so much for everyone's support, the new subscribers. Look at that. We've got, 36 watching and 43 thumbs up. That's how I like the numbers. Bit by bit, momentum is gathering in a little bit of steam getting behind us now, and some nice messages on Twitter saying, currently my favorite podcast and things like that. It means a lot. Obviously I've jumped over from, well, we kind of both jumped over from another. It just happened to be here, but it's nice to come away from somewhere that's already got a subscriber base that's so big, and then come here and there's some support and feel like we're growing bit by bit. We'll get there one day. But yeah, keep following the show. We hope to keep bringing you more and more. We try and keep on top of these topics. Obviously, Matt's in some kind of weird, different time zone that's not conducive to getting a lot of work together. But we're working on it, trying to bring you those shows, the breaking news, and discussing it. But
we do a lot of work. Like I feel like you're wrong about that. Like
no, I just mean our window to put work out, to do shows is small, So
yes. I mean, compared, I'll put it this way. Go to most podcasts. They're not putting out as much content as we are. There are definitely some that put out more, some that put out the same amount, but there's very few in that bracket that we are in. That's an upper 10-15% of podcasts that put out that much content that is this long every day. Like we do at least 2 hours a show basically every day. That's a lot of time. A lot of research goes into that. A lot of pre-production, a lot of post-production, and obviously just trying to build up everything else around it. But I cut you off. I deeply.
It's all right. No, just so people know, you say about a lot of pre-production. If it's quite a skill to filter through the bullshit comments from Fugati and the smoke from Midi and Matt just waking up, and I've already put topics in there. It's hard. It's real hard work, but I'm just taking shots.
First off, why are you giving up the secret of how podcasting is actually very, very simple? And it doesn't take.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's difficult because you've got weirdos in the chat with us where I'm just trying to work. I'm just trying to work. I'm trying to bring you this best content, and there's people in that chat trying to sabotage it and make me forget it and lose it. Nah, seriously, I'm just messing about. No, but yeah, we want to try keep our fingers on the pulse and catch news when it breaks. This kind of was, this was Matt was doing other things, and I was like, whoa, I think we need to do this. And Matt was like, you want to go now? And I was like, yeah. So we were here. We brought you the Canelo Triple G3. Obviously, we had the Wilder Fury stuff in the bag, waiting to do another show, maybe with more subjects. But maybe that'll come tomorrow. But yeah, tell everyone we're here. There's nowhere else to be. This is the place to be. Hit that thumbs up, share the show, check out mixcombatradio.com. All the links are there for phone numbers, Google Hangout, email for that, Patreon, and like I said, join the show, another one, subscribe. So yeah, check it out. We're here. We're coming.
You're coming, yes. And obviously, hit that like button, share the show, subscribe. It's on podcast. Drop that 5-star review. If you are inclined, head over to patreon.com/mixcombatradio. Help support the channel grow. For as low as $1 a month, you get extra shows a week that are way more laid back, a little bit more, even more so than the regular show, a little more raw and a little bit more unfiltered. And obviously just great content on top of that. And on top of that, we're adding more content monthly as the year rolls on. UK Hour is coming back in a big and bad way. Still in preliminary discussions with Rob about whether that would be Patreon or for free for the masses, because that's a publishing issue with his agency and all that. How the stars are.
My people will call your people.
Yeah, you know how the Hearn family is. They're tough to negotiate with. They're shrewd businessmen.
Expect a low ball offer to start with.
I have received several. I offered you $50 million and you didn't take it. But anyways, digressing. Sorry, no, $80 million, like Frank Warren said today. But anyways,
I heard some of the money was coming from Sporting Icons channel. How could we do that? How could I even do that? I am exclusive to Mixed Combat Radio.
Anyways, I am Matt the Hipster Honey from Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms, and have a great, fantastic day. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?